As you know, my favorite foods are bread and cheese. Miss Rhonda is here to showcase probably one of the best breads out there, sourdough. Good morning, Rhonda, and welcome to Hometown Living.
Good morning.
I'm so excited that you're here.
I am too.
So not only is sourdough one of my favorite breads, but it's National Sourdough Day. Who knew?
Who knew? Well,
Who knew?
I found out when I looked it up, but yeah, who knew?
So we were talking earlier, there's something special about sourdough. So my health practitioner that I go to has said that sourdough should be like the only bread that I eat because it's actually a better bread for you. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, so sourdough, because it is a naturally fermented dough, the yeast kind of grows in your starter, which we'll get to. It's easier on your gut. It's easier on gut health because it's more natural. Now, I know anecdotally, if I eat a lot of like hot dog buns or hamburger buns or breads or whatever I make out of yeast, I get a little achy, a little bloated, and I just don't feel so great.
Yes.
But I will tell you that for me personally, if I eat the sourdough, I never tend to feel any of those things. And I know a lot of people come up to my shop and they're like, well, I have kind of a gluten intolerance. It's not an allergy. I'm not celiac, but I just don't feel good when I eat a lot of breads. I recommend the sourdough, and 9 times out of 10, they've said, hey, I notice a difference. I can enjoy bread still. I can enjoy other baked goods still.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is the history of sourdough?
Well, actually, sourdough, 1500 BC is like one of the earliest known time periods of using sourdough because they didn't have the yeast. And it wasn't until like the mid-1800s, Louis Pasteur came up with yeast, and then it became kind of phased out a little bit. People still used it. Interestingly enough, though, I was reading that gold miners were called sourdoughs, because they took a starter with them on the mining trail because they couldn't do the yeast bread.
Yeah.
And they made sourdough.
Oh,
and then, in the 80s, it kind of came up again. I'm guessing San Francisco. I didn't really research that. But in the 80s, it kind of hit a boom again, and we've been going ever since.
I love that.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like you can do a starter, and then you can share your starter too, correct? Yeah. So, all right, but we get to do a starter today.
We're doing a starter
today. All right, so show me how because I have no clue. I'm not sure how this works.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, when you start to do sourdough, it is a little daunting, and I understand that. I always say, get a scale.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to want a decent scale that does grams, anything like that. And I don't always use the scale to feed my sourdough, but I do when I make a sourdough. And I'm going to tell you very, very quickly, when we make a sourdough, we're going to keep feeding it for 15 days before we bake with it. You need that time to let the bacteria become safe.
Okay.
And usable.
And so your hint for that is that we have to name it.
Yes, name it. Name it. Because it's like a kid.
Yeah.
You name your kids and your pets, right?
Yes.
And then you think
and
to
I would feed them. Yes, that makes so much sense to me.
I have Jennifer Lopez. Okay. J Doe. She's a little sassy. She's kind of temperamental. And then I also have Dolene.
Oh, I love Dolene.
So, yeah.
Yes.
So we'll have to name her before we go, or him, whichever.
Okay.
I had Eduardo, but he was kind of a slacker. So anyway.
Okay.
So we're going to start out with 50 grams of water. So I have it pre-measured for today.
Okay.
And so then we're going to add 50 grams of flour, which I probably will spill all over. So we're going to make a little makeshift cone.
Okay.
How about that? Maybe that will work. Can I get you to hang on to that?
Yep.
Maybe we can figure this out.
Together.
Okay. I didn't bring my funnel.
That's all right. That's what people don't have a funnel. We got to wait for them to make it work.
Yeah. So 50 grams of flour, and that's all it is.
Okay.
Flour and water. Isn't that amazing?
This is all that.
Yes.
Wow.
That is it.
I made it a whole lot more complicated. We did do it.
Yay.
I made this a whole lot more complicated than what it is.
So then you stir them. Give it a quick stir, and you're going to just really make sure that this gets super mixed in, right?
What should the consistency be like?
I don't know if you can see. It's kind of like almost like a muffin consistency. If you're making muffins, or kind of thick. And that's okay. That's what you want. You don't want it super soupy. So you're going to get that all stirred in. And then every day for 15 days, I'm going to back up because I'm jumping ahead. You're going to see, hopefully, and the first couple days you're going to let this sit. You're not going to touch it. You're going to just put a little cover over it. Some people say use cheesecloth. Honestly, I use this little guy.
Okay.
Because you want some gas.
Yeah.
You want the gases to escape.
Okay.
So I just tear a little bit off.
And we sit for how many days without touching it?
2 to 3.
Okay.
And you're just going to watch it. Put a little rubber band around. You're just going to watch it, and you're just going to let it hang out there.
Okay.
Now, I always put a little mark with my little marker, my dry erase marker, where it started.
Oh, so you can see how it grows.
And so you'll see, hopefully, it starts to bubble up, bubble up, bubble up. And then after the second or third day, when you've seen it's kind of grown, it'll rise and fall, and that's okay. You're going to dump out all but 50 grams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and for the next 12 days, you're going to feed it 50 grams of water and 50 grams of flour.
Okay.
And it's going to rise and fall and rise and fall. Now, you don't want to use any of it for those 15 days because, like I said, those bacteria need to get safe, right?
They need to get out of there.
And then after that, you're good to bake. You can bake breads, whatever, right?
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. Discard. Never throw it away after the 15 days.
Okay.
Save it. Now, I will say, okay, let me preface that. Use it. Okay, I have come down to where I've had like 15 things of discard in my fridge. I'm like, this is getting out of hand. But you can make so many things out of discard. So what you're going to do after the 15 days, you're going to pull out about half. And this is where I don't stay super sciencey on it. And I think the people that make it that are really like science-minded are going to just freak out right now. Sorry. You're going to pull out about half of it, put that aside, and you're going to refeed it.
Okay.
And I usually
and then it'll keep going.
Honestly, the way I feed it, I feed it a half a cup of warm water and a cup of flour, and until I get that muffin consistency.
Okay.
And then I mark my jar.
And see where it grows.
And then I watch it, yeah.
Okay, well, the next time that you come on, we're going to talk about what to do with all the starters because we didn't even get to that because that was so interesting.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You can contact Rhonda at IngramsSmallBatchLLC.square.site to get your small batch needs filled. And don't forget to follow them on Facebook.